today we don't have a question. We're going to talk about two subjects, oil and currencies, but we're going to start with oil.
Yes, I think a lot of people are wondering how to invest in oil. It's a very hot topic in the real world, but of course also in the investment world. So
Exactly.
if you are in the gas station, to put it in your car, it's already an investment. The prices are sky high.
Yeah.
But it's, I think, not that easy to say, okay, this is very high, so I'm going to buy oil itself. Because
No.
I think the first question one needs to ask himself is, am I a trader or an investor? Because the oil product, we spoke about it, we touched it a lot of times, I think. It's like a future product, no? So it's a commodity and the prices are all derived from the future. And future trading is not something you can just do like buying a share. Even buying a share can be quite difficult with all the corporate actions, but I think in the end it's quite clear what you are buying, what the risks are. But future trading, there are so many subjects you need to know. And I think you really need to be almost a professional trader. And you can be it yourself, of course, but it's not something just, I heard that the future of oil is good to invest. Of course, you can go short as well, long short with future trading. I mean, the underlying number of contracts, you know what I mean? That's something.
How big is that contract?
How big is that? The margin, initial margin, maintenance margin.
Yeah, so those are all elements of the, actually explaining the difficulty of future trading.
But
right?
that's why it's not so easy, I think, to say, look, of course the characteristics in the trade ticket, excuse me, they are quite clear, but I think if most people see it, they think, what is this? Is it so big, 20,000 euros? Also, of course, we're going to speak about currencies. The oil prices, of course, are expressed in US dollars normally. So the practical thing, have the exposure to the dollar.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult, I think. You must realize that you are like one of the big trading companies in oil if you are investing through our platform.
Correct.
If you buy a future or a CFD or an option, the expiry moments, when is the last trading day of my future, when it will be settled, etc. So I think it's not that easy. It is possible. We know people, of course, trading them, but yeah, they are professional traders.
Yeah, exactly.
And they are not people just only thinking about what's happening here with oil. The second group, and that's probably the group that thinks, okay, I want to do something with oil. I think the normal thing would be to invest or in an ETF or in a specific oil company. And I think we spoke about that also in the past, that the ETF is like a basket of oil-related or energy-related companies. So the advantage would be that you are not only exposed to one company with all the specific problems of that company. Yeah. So you should normally have like the exposure and the profitability of the oil price buying the whole ETF. What is important, I think, specifically for the oil business is that you also must realize that the regulation for the sustainability in those sectors is something that's becoming, hotter.
Much more
relevant, and also the fines and the regulators acting on it. I saw a few examples recently that commercials are withdrawn because of suggesting something, not really saying it, but suggesting that something.
What do you mean with commercials? You mean projections of
well, there were some commercials in the on the television.
Okay.
And
commercials. Sorry, I was thinking about figures.
No. But I mean, really, that they there were not fines, I think, but it's really like you might have to take it away because it's suggesting. I don't want to name the company, but but it's like something that can also result quite easily in very big fines, I think, if the politics...
It's becoming more and more relevant.
Yeah.
You see it everywhere.
And maybe it's good, I don't know. But for your investment, I think you must know if your company is prepared to that, how they are performing on ESG level, of course.
Definitely.
And what if sometime a company will get a fine? I remember some examples of the tech companies a while ago that we spoke with some people in the office also, saying that, look, if they have some problems with the GDPR rules, okay, they pay the fine and that's it, and they will grow. It doesn't really matter. But I think with this subject, with the politics and all the people, they cannot really afford to have, and I suppose it's correct, that the rules should be for the environment. But,
is that effect? It has no impact on the oil price itself, no?
No, but if you're investing in the company, for example, and you decided to choose a oil company, to invest in oil, then that's something you really need to know. But of course, that could be.
I think in practice, not a lot of people are checking it.
No, but it's something I want to suggest at least because in the news I noticed it's coming more hot now, this kind of greenwashing subject that people,
nice word,
let's say that we, well, it is a negative word, but I suppose it's true that if you say that you are good for the environment, buying the product, and in the end it's proven to be wrong. The rules at this moment actually is that the company needs to be in line with the Paris 2015 agreement.
Yeah.
And there was a while ago a survey saying that 2 out of 3 ETFs were not in line with that. So I'm just saying that if you are in those ETFs and there will be fines in the end, it could affect your risk. But it's not so easy. I don't have the answer here. Buy this one because they are, some companies are more.
But what is interesting to see is if we talk about the investment part, of course, the ESG is something that everybody will need to comply with, but think about oil companies itself. What I found interesting, and I spoke about it with clients, and I spoke about it with actually Casper pointed me about it, is that you see that the expected revenues for the oil companies are declining over the next 4 or 5 years. If you look at any other business, in general, Amazon or something like that, you see always growth, more earnings, lower PEs, and with oil companies, you see it actually the other way around. You see that they expect, and that can only be because of the fact that they think that the oil price will go down. I think that is actually what people want. What do we think where the oil price will go? No?
Yeah.
And obviously I think it's very difficult for us to give an answer to that. What we saw last week is extreme volatility. Tuesday evening, oil price down 10% directly. The US companies reacting to that. Exxon down 4%, Chevron down 4%. In the morning it went back up again, so there's a lot of volatility in the market. It's also now with what's happening with natural gas from Russia. Spain, I read this morning, they bought a record amount of gas from Russia in the month of June. Never ever before they bought so much gas. In Germany, they are really I think nervous at the moment because Nord Stream 1 has closed for maintenance, and what's really funny about it is that they don't know when they will finish. So it takes about a week, but they will know the day before when it's finished. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I saw a German minister standing there and he was saying, okay, and always one day before they announce if they're going to be done. It's like you take your car on Monday to the garage with the expectation that it's done on Wednesday, and on Wednesday, if you haven't heard something, you're going to, is my car ready? No, it's not ready yet. So maybe on Friday. It's like, how can this be? There must be some sort of maintenance plan. So there's a lot of things happening, and looking at natural gas as well, of course, it's at record levels, really high because of all this. So I think it's important to see what will be happening with the supply of gas, because it is so expensive at the moment. If the flow comes back up, I mean, the war in Ukraine, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's going to end very soon, but if things sort out again, then and gas prices will normalize, how do you take benefit from a drop in price of the gas price? And as an inspiration, I took the commodity trading portfolio that we have in Saxo Select, and the performance first 4 months wasn't so good, but the last couple of months they're actually doing really well because they are short in they're long in natural gas, and they do that by a CFD. So the CFD natural gas August 2022, that is what they are trading in, trying to follow the gas price. So that is, I think it's pretty straightforward product. It follows the gas price. Of course, it's an August future. And why is that important that it's an August future? Because if you do it for 1 month ahead, of course we're now in July, so they had the position already longer term. So that's important to mention, because the August future expires in July. That's the biggest difficulty, what you were explaining at the beginning about the characteristics of these products, is that they have a lot of things that you need to take in
always like stop losses, I suppose, and take profit. It's not something from the shelf normally.
I also remember last year in April the oil price was negative. It was actually more expensive to store the oil than the product itself. It's completely the other way around at this moment. And then I want to move to the next topic, which is the currency market, which is also extremely, I mean, it looks a little bit like there's a correlation between the oil price and, in this case, the US dollar. Because you see that, I mean, of course, that's maybe not the case, but the US dollar is almost at parity with the euro. We're at 101 at the moment, and that I remember like 8 months ago we were at 120, 117, 120 for the euro dollar. So at the moment the dollar has become really expensive. And how is that possible? That's mainly just because of the fact that the Fed is raising the interest by quarters, halves of percent, 0.75%, big steps, and they were not expecting that. In Europe, we would like to do maybe the same thing, but it's just impossible because of the fact that we have. I was on an investment symposium 2 weeks ago, and they started the day off with, showing us a chart of Greece, Italy, Spain, all these countries that are all suffering to comply with. I mean, out of the, I don't know how many countries, 20 countries or something, only 3 are below the 65% what the ECB agreed on. That should be the government debt, and all the other ones are so much above that, and it's not looking very well. I mean, in 2011 in August, I remember that the market dropped 30% because of the Greek debt situation. Now we have more debt and a weaker euro. So I mean, it's really insane that there's not, Europe is not in a good picture at the moment. Absolutely not. And I think we all know that, and you see that also in UK had really bad figures as well economically. But the euro is so weak that even the pound became stronger against the euro. And then we also had Johnson stepping down. And there's an alternative. I think it was Trisha or something. And she's looking to become maybe the new prime. But she wants to lower taxes so people have more to spend. But that's also maybe not the best thing for your currency. So currency markets are extremely difficult. Also, many times very logic. Mm-hmm. It's very big markets, because the dollar just reflects what is happening in the US economy. The euro reflects what is happening in the EU economy. And that's what you see if you look at pound dollar. The pound versus the dollar was at 135, is now at 120. So also there you see that the pound has become a lot weaker against the dollar. So it's just a reflection of what is happening. And then that I find myself an interesting comparison. You see that it's an additional demonstration of how weak the euro at the moment is, because if the pound has lost so much value against the dollar, but the euro is also losing value against the pound, that's actually double up, right? So because the UK also left Europe, so you might think that maybe UK might be in a worse situation because of Brexit, but it's not the case. So there's a big correlation about what central banks are doing and the value of the currency, and I think that is something that you should be really cautious about on making your investments decision. Of course, we are living in euro, we are paying with euro, so you normally would also invest a large chunk of your investments in euro. But if we translate this to your portfolio, I think what could be an idea now is to just see, okay, how much exposure do I have in the US dollar? How much stock exposure do I have in US dollar? Then the stocks might be down, but you might still have a positive result because of the dollar. You might consider selling a little bit to boost your result. Or if you have dollars on your account, maybe change a little bit of those dollars to euro now, if you think that we have seen the worst part of the weakening euro. So all in all, I think interesting times, as well as for the oil price, as well as for the gas price, as well as for the currency market, specifically what is happening with the euro. I want to finish off with, I didn't mention yet, the Japanese yen. Many times, it's not. You might think, why the Japanese yen? Because it's the second largest bond market in the world, and the yen has been as weak as it is now. But we go back almost 25 years. We go back to 1997, 1998, and last week, tragic news that Abe was killed. And he was actually initiator of the Abenomics, as they also call, so low interest rates to keep the economy afloat. And it is curious to see that due to his death, maybe Japan will change something. The Bank of Japan said they will not, but maybe they have to bend because of their currency being so extremely weak. Good for the export, really bad for if they need to buy stuff from abroad. Okay, I think that's a wrap. Nothing else to add?
No, this week we have an expiration on Friday.
Yeah, option expiry.
Nice.
Always if
not
you
a
trade
big
options,
one, but still the monthly options.
So thank you for watching.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Amsterdam.
Thank you.